'89 U.S. Challenge. After one rotation, Lance Ringnald leads Kyle Asano by 1/2 of a point, 9.45 to 8.95. Now let's introduce you to the women. They are going to begin on the vaulting competition. It is Brandy Johnson against Margaret Ulett. Brandy Johnson will vault first. The women are allowed to compete on 2 separate vaults, and it is the higher of the 2 vaults that will count.
Brandy Johnson. In this challenge between Brandy and Margaret, this is probably the event where they're most evenly matched. They both do some very powerful vaults. Brandy's going to do a Yurchenko with a full in the laid out position.
Not much room for improvement there.
Well, I'm sure she's going to concentrate next time on sticking it, but boy, in terms of technique and power, you just can't do it any better than that. Good speed, the round off onto the board. She powers back into the horse and tremendous push off the horse, keeping her body perfectly straight. If anything, Brandy has too much juice. She tends to overdo things because she's so powerful. Plenty of height, plenty of rotation, and that's the reason for the hop. She's going to try and hang it up just a little bit more, so hopefully she can drop straight down on the landing and stick it.
You see the score for that first vault, 9.875. Now in the first round, she received a 9.925, so she is capable of doing better than the 9.875 you just saw her get.
So she's going to try this time to get into the horse with a good block and try and hang it up just a little more. Actually, she surprised herself a little bit because she hit her hands very lightly on the horse, but she compensated beautifully and knew just exactly how to pull the rotation around. She didn't get the same kind of push. She was really on her fingertips almost, but she is such a star. She really knows how to handle that.
Let's take a look at her fingers on this replay.
Watch this. She really overpowers it again, and her hands just barely touch on. She doesn't get the push that she needed, but wow, she really knows how to compensate.
And Brandy Johnson's score for the second vault, 9.90. That is the score that will carry. Again, a reminder, in the first round, Brandy Johnson shattered all of the U.S. Challenge records with all of the standards that she attained in each of the 4 events. Right now, you are looking at Margaret Ulett, her challenger this day. She is from Blue Springs, Missouri, and trains under Al Fong.
She signaled to the judges with that point number 491. She's going to do the same vault. Okay, that's a very nice vault, actually. She took one step, but it's the same vault we saw Brandy Johnson use. It's a Yurchenko in the laid out position with a full.
Also quite a swimmer and quite a volleyball player as well.
Let's see what happens here. She does a round off onto the board, goes back to the horse. She doesn't quite have the height and the distance that you saw Brandy Johnson, but still, technically, it's a very strong vault.
9.725. The score she wants to beat is 9.9.
Once again, technically, the vault was very nice. All she needs now is to spot that landing. There it is. Oh, almost stuck it, too. You could tell right from the beginning that she had a good, powerful block and a good, steady push. She doesn't run as fast as Brandy does, but she has really good control as she goes back to the horse. Nice block with the hands, a little higher, a little cleaner in the air, and she really fights for that landing.
9.80, the score for Margaret Ulett on her second vault, and like Brandy Johnson, the second vault is the better vault. The 9.80 that Margaret Ulett receives is 1/10 of a point behind Brandy Johnson after one rotation. It is a cumulative all-around score that counts most, so she is only 1/10 of a point behind with 3 rotations remaining. Right now, let's go back to our second event for the men, and that is the pommel horse, and Kyle Asano is up first.
If Kyle's going to keep a close competition running here with Lance, he's going to need to do a very good job here. He had a lot of trouble in the qualifying. So far, so good. He had his trouble in the qualifying round right at the opening of the exercise. A little sloppy form, but he's fighting it well here. He's rushing a little bit through single leg work. Back travel down to the end, handstand. Oh! He was going to do a handstand and a full pirouette off. And he had a little trouble there as he was powering up to the handstand. You can see he's a young man. He has a lot of difficulty. He can do a lot of good tricks, but he has not yet developed the kind of strength and control that you'll see from some of the more mature competitors. He did a back travel down. Now watch, he cranks it up to a handstand here, straddled, and he was going to start to do a full pirouette, and his body was a little loose. But when you have a loose body, it really is hard to control those handstand pirouettes.
You could really notice it in his lower legs, too. Knees bent a little bit, toes were flexed instead of pointed.
Of course, he's going to score a lot better than he did in the preliminaries. He scored only 7.9 in the qualifying round, so...
Much better number right here. 8.45 for Kyle Asano on the pommel horse. Kyle Asano is just a senior in high school.
In fact, he's training at the Stanford Gymnastics Club under the coach Sadao Hamada, who is the coach at Stanford, although he doesn't plan on competing in college.
It's kind of an interesting trend in men's gymnastics, not going to the college ranks and just training for the international circuit.
Speaking of that, one man who is doing that is Lance Ringnald, who's next on the pommel horse. He has opted to not go to the University of Nebraska as he had originally intended, to build his schedule around the international competitive season, not the NCAA collegiate season. Beautiful toe point. Oh, he's having trouble, but he fights it. Handstand, down into the middle, single leg work. Travel to the end, watch this back off. I love that dismount. You know, when that dismount was first performed, it was kind of a gimmicky trick. Most of the hardcore gymnastics fans said, come on, that's no fun. And yet Lance he sticks by it, and he does it tucked, and it's clean, and it really looks good. If you can do it like he can do it, it really does look good. Of course, nobody can do it quite like Lance. That's great.
Gets your attention. In the first round, he received a 9.6 for the pommel horse performance. Obviously, that score does not carry. The score he wants to beat is 8.45, and that's what Kyle Asano.
You know, he had a little trouble, and we noticed he broke form, as did Kyle. Lance is just a little stronger and a little bit more mature as a competitor, and he didn't allow himself to get completely out of control. He fought it very well.
And he is now 1 full point ahead of him just on this event alone with a 9.45 to Kyle Asano's 8.45. We'll be back.